Okay, so good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for coming for the April 2023 Rapid Rehousing Systems Training. For those of you who are new, we ideally do these trainings biannually every 6 months or when we can. If it's not 6 months, it's either 5 months or 7 months. We try to stay pretty consistent with these trainings because so much information changes and there's always new staff. So we want to make sure everybody's on the same page, which will cause a seamless transition between when your clients first get to you and when their rent is paid. So as mentioned before, this training is recorded. Tomorrow we will update it and upload it to our website. So it'll be available for viewing, for onboarding, or whatever it is that you need. If anybody needs it, just shoot us an email, we'll send it to you, but it will be on our website. And this is brought to you by Advancing Connecticut Together, specifically the finance department, because now Rapid Rehousing is a part of the finance department. That doesn't change anything with you all, but if you ever were asked a trivia question, that is the answer. Okay, just a couple housekeeping things. As always, we always invite folks to put their cameras on if you're able to, and if you're comfortable, it's completely fine either way. We just like to interact with you as much as possible. I like seeing your faces, and when we're putting these together, all we see is each other's faces. So it's nice to switch up the game a little bit. And if you've been to one of our trainings before, it's very interactive. I like when people use the buttons, hand raising, you can react to things. It's just something I like seeing. I could think of something more detailed to say, but that's really all it is. Please utilize the chat. We do monitor the chat. Basically, it's a team of us who will be presenting this information today. So whomever is not speaking, just know that somebody else will be reviewing the chat, so you don't have to wait. As always, we put some time in here for questions at the end. There's a very real chance that you can get some of your afternoon back, but I don't want to subsidize that with you not asking those questions. So utilize that as you see fit. And right now we're going to introduce a team. I'll let the team introduce themselves. Everybody is here, and I will go. Actually, my name's last, but I'll go first. My name is Brendan Colbert. I'm now the new training coordinator for Advancing Connecticut Together. But fear not, I'll still be utilizing my rapid rehousing role. I'll be processing some rapid rehousing applications, and I'll be doing the community college one. So my relationship with you all will not change. You just may see me in another capacity doing training for the agency. But our fearless leader is up next. Ishmael, you are up.
Well, thank you, Brendan. Thank you, everyone, for coming here today. I am Ismail Colon. I'm a Chief Operating Officer for Advancing Connecticut Together. And I am taking a direct active role and oversight of the rapid rehousing team, which is kind of why Brendan mentioned it's part of the finance team as an arm to us, or an extension to the finance department here for processing. So that's a little bit about me. My role in this department is more of an oversight role. Any issues that come up that are not solved between Tier 1 and Tier 2, so to speak, I will get involved and make sure that we can smooth things over and clarify anything that needs to be clarified. So with that, I'll leave it off to our rapid rehousing coordinator.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kendra Quittant. I am the accounting specialist and a rapid rehousing coordinator here at ACT. You all might not see me on the front line, but if there are any issues in regards to any tickets that cannot be resolved with the people that are resolving it, you can always reach out to me, or you can reach out to ACT Funds and they can, forward it to me and I can get involved. Nice to meet you all.
Hi, everybody. I'm Maria Diaz, and I am the Rapid Rehousing Assistant.
Hello, everyone. My name is Angel Cotto, and I'm also a Rapid Rehousing Assistant.
Hello, everyone. My name is Shania Cannon, and I'm also a Rapid Rehousing Assistant.
Hey, thank you all. Now we're going to dive in. One of my favorite parts, our icebreaker. All right, listen, a lot of familiar faces on here. You guys know the rules. Let's interact. Let's break the ice. We were encouraged to change the icebreaker question. Maria put me on game yesterday that I have been using the same icebreaker for like 2 years. So I changed it from the superhero one. So if you were gearing up to tell me what superpower you want, I guess you can still tell me by messaging me. But today, the icebreaker is, what does your perfect vacation look like? Take a couple seconds, think of what your perfect vacation, and this is money doesn't matter. This is, Ghost and Tommy money. You know what I mean? Like you're good. There are no limits. I guess I can go first. My perfect vacation. Where do I want to go? I want to go to Aviano, Italy. That's where I want to go. I want to go to Aviano, Italy. I want to do nothing and cancel plans for a week. I want to eat authentic Italian cuisine, and stay in a villa somewhere, and me and my wife just hang out. So that is my perfect vacation. Average Joe, blue collar, nonprofit dream vacation. I really want to go to Chicago. The happy parts of Chicago. I want to go and see the Windy City. I haven't really spent much time in the Midwest. So my every paycheck 2 weeks ideal vacation would be Chicago. My Ghost and Tommy money is Aviano, Italy. So whomever wants to go next, please unmute yourself and put us on game.
Hello all. My name is
Hey, Fred.
McIntosh. I think I'm going to do it too. I want to go to West Africa, probably
Okay.
Ghana, and do the excursion.
The safari.
I see a safari excursion and do a touring, go to a resort, something like that. I think that might be a really good thing for me to do. So,
Okay.
it's mine.
I dig it.
Wait,
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Since we're sharing computers, I'm gonna.
Okay, Kathy. Okay, go ahead.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kathy Lewis Finn, Open Doors Housing Case Manager. I just had a baby, whoop whoop for
Oh,
me.
congratulations.
Baby
Big
girl.
shout out to you.
Thank
Okay.
you so much. So right now, as far as the perfect vacation, doesn't matter where I go, as long as I get to be selfish and just worried about me and my self-care. And I don't have to worry or need or want for anything, wherever it is that I do go.
I
Yeah,
dig it. I dig. Well, congratulations again.
thank you.
Wishing you the best of luck, and I hope you get that vacation where you can be shellfish. Okay, David, you are up, my friend.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. I am so simple and basic. I need palm trees, swim up bars, beach. Like, you can send me to any destination as long as they have that. I'm good.
Okay, I dig it. Sabrina, you're up, and then Nicole says Bali. So hopefully we can get Nicole to Bali one day. But Sabina, you are up.
So I want to go to Hawaii, and if you
Okay.
guys ever watched Fantasy Island, I want to be like Fantasy Island, on a little boat, then on a little plane with no phones, no emails, no nothing. That's my dream vacation. By myself.
Okay. By yourself, though, like, and bringing nobody. No, okay.
Yeah.
Who did I see first? I think LaQuisha. Did I say that right?
LaQuisha.
Oh, LaQuisha. Okay, you're up.
Hi, LaQuisha McKenna from Rapid Rehousing, Youth Continuum. I'm pretty simple, pretty much all inclusive beachfront, and I'm happy.
Hey, so the simple life is better. I see a couple of responses in the chat. A lot of people going to Bali. I must find a Groupon or something. Okay, Greece. Greece for 2 weeks, not 1 week. I've always wanted to go to Greece. That's on my list too. Japan and Singapore. Perfect exclusive Royal Caribbean cruise, Clive. Sicily, Italy. I would love to see an authentic opera in Sicily. That would be phenomenal. Beaches in the sea, sitting on the beach in Bali. There must be something I don't know about Bali because like 10 of y'all are going to the same place. Okay, I'm not mad at that. Iceland, Northern Lights, hot springs, hiking, Tahiti. Oh, okay. Well, thank you. Thank you all for participating in that. And, I know what Expedia gift cards to get y'all if I hit the lottery or something. Bora Bora. Okay. Japan. All right. Dope. Well, the ice is definitely broken because everybody wants to go to warm places. So I'm not mad at that. All right, guys. Well, thank you for that. I'll keep that in mind if I ever get some Bruce Wayne money. And then right now we will turn it over to the processing timeline. So what will happen is the remainder of the rapid rehousing team here at ACT will be going over their slides and like I said before, I'll keep an eye on the chat. So if you have questions, feel free. If you do ask a question that is going to be answered in a slide that's coming down the line, I'll just tell you that. And if not, we can stop it and enter. There is time built in for this very thing. So the floor is yours, whoever is presenting this. I believe it's Maria.
All right, everybody, the processing time, it starts with a case manager submits a rental request to the community underscore assistant at act/ct.org. And then an ACT team member assigns the rapid rehousing ticket to a processor. And then the processing time begins. Requests could be placed in either an approval, pending, or rejected status. And we always give an update via email through the ticket system to update the case manager on any current status. And then once the rental request is approved, an email notification will be sent to the case manager. A check is uploaded to the client's file in HMIS and available for case managers to view for reference, and then you'll get a submission is closed. Next slide, please, Brandon. All right, this is the rapid rehousing funds request. We actually put the new one in just so you guys could see how it looks. This document needs to be signed by your supervisor and as well as by the case manager. It needs to be uploaded to HMIS under files and documents section. This document should indicate if the rent, okay, so in this document, you should always indicate what kind of request is it? Is it an initial request? Is it a monthly request? Is it a sort of ongoing recertification? But you also have to include the month and the year as well. Next slide, please. This is right here is the checklist is also part of the fund request, but it's like the third page in this. And this here will allow you to know what each section needs. If it's an initial request, it tells you everything that's required. If it's an ongoing request, it also lets you know everything that is required as well as the recertification. And yes, it is. It's a new funds request. You could use this one. It's on the website, which is also added in the bottom of this. It will let you know everything it is and it'll allow you to know where all the documents are for the DOH requires you guys. Next screen, please. And then I will give it off to Shamia.
Hello, everyone. This one is a financial service request. For the financial service request, what is needed is to be completed prior to submitting a rental request through the ticketing system. Property owner information includes the mailing address, needs to match the information you submit on the rental request application. This one. Common errors. The reference line needs to mention the month, year, also, and if it's an initial ongoing utility, which also should include the month and the year you are requesting for assistance. When the property is under new management, a new W-9 5-1 rental agreement and FSR needs to be submitted to HMIS. Please be sure to the account name and provider match on the FSR for payment processing to continue. If the account name and provider does not match, please ensure the client is enrolled in the correct program and you are working under the correct HMIS role.
Go ahead, Mario. You got a question?
Yes, real quick on the Oh, sorry about that. On the fund request checklist on the form on the first page, under the household composition, you guys got two sentences with landlord contact information and the HMIS financial service request. So do you guys want the landlord information in that part, or you guys want us to check that and to make sure that it's on HMIS? I don't know if I'm making any sense.
So if I'm understanding you right, on the funds request, there's a section that you could add the landlord.
Yeah,
That's
it's
what
a
you're
landlord
referring
contact
to?
information and address are listed in HMIS financial service request. And I think if you go back, you can put on the slide. You
I
probably
think
can
it's
see
slide
it.
7. Brandon, can you go to slide 7? One more. This one right here you're talking about, Mario?
Yes, on the confirmation. Did you want us to put the landlord information under the first square there, or just to do the checkbox?
You could do the checkbox if there's enough space. I know the old one will require a space there for you to add the landlord, but this one doesn't seem like it has enough space for it. But as long as you check the boxes, it should be okay. Then if it's an initial request, we look for the proof of ownership, the W-9, and we look at the FSR. So we make sure everything like matches with the same name. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that's perfect. Okay.
Okay.
Because I always add it there, but then I mean, if I don't have
Yeah,
to-
with the new one, it seemed like it's not gonna give you enough space to add it there, like the old form did. But it should be okay as long as the rest of the documents match. We'll move it forward.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
I think we were on W-9s. So I'm gonna go on that. So we are at W-9s, one of my favorite things. So pretty much on the W-9, it's pretty simple, but sometimes it can be a little confusing for some. But the top line, name and business, business name must be listed on the W-9 and it must match the FSR. If it does not match the FSR, it will not be paid. Exactly how the name is listed on that W-9 is the same way it needs to be on the FSR. You cannot list both the individual's social security number and business EIN when submitting for rental payment. It has to be one or the other. The reason it has to be one or the other is because if, let's say, you did put the landlord's name and you put the landlord's EIN, when we go to put that information into the IRS website, it's going to tell us that it doesn't match. Even though that person does own that company, that's not the name that it's under. And when that happens, you will get a message from one of our lovely people on our team saying, oh, this is a TIN mismatch. So whenever you see that, that just means something is not matching, either the it's the name and an EIN, or it could just be that the number is wrong. When there is a change of property ownership, a new W-9 will need to be submitted for the new property owner. A little side note too with that one, our team will not know that there's a new property owner just because we don't really keep track of that in that way. So when you're submitting your ticket, let's say this person has been getting assistance for 4 months and the property was sold, just make sure you write in the message when you're submitting that ticket to the ticketing system that, hey, there is a new owner. So that is it for that slide.
And Ernest, to answer your question, you can start using the new forms as soon as you like.
All right, so now we're talking about actually submitting the tickets to the ticketing system. So as we all know, or hopefully do, the email address is community_assistance@act-ct.org. That email, when you are submitting a ticket in, you're going to be sending one email per each of your rental requests or utility requests. You want to keep them separate in case there's any pauses for any of them. We're going to be submitting one email per submission. When submitting that, making sure that the subject line has the HMIS ID, type of application, the month and year is very important. If it doesn't have all 4 of those things, you may get a message from us saying that your ticket has been rejected because it's not specific enough. We don't have the information we need to process that ticket. So just make sure that it has the client's ID, whether it's an initial, ongoing, or recertification. So that's the type of application, the month and the year. And if it's for a community college rental request, just make sure it has the HMIS ID again, the name of the community college, type of application, month and year. So it's just one more thing. If it's a community college rental one, we want to know the name of the community college. Once you've submitted your ticket, you'll get a confirmation email that has been submitted and received. When that happens, we assign the ticket to one of our ACT staff members, and that team member will be the one that's going to be working on your ticket, and they will send you updates as needed. What kind of updates? Next slide. So these are the different types of application statuses that you might receive for your tickets, depending on what may happen with them. If you submit a ticket, everything looks good, there's no errors, nothing's missing, it'll be approved and submitted to finance. You'll receive an update from us that it has been submitted to finance. And so that is just basically saying that finance now has it, they're reviewing it now, but it looks like everything's good. If there's anything missing, if there's any errors for whatever reason, if numbers don't match, if names don't match, it will be put on the pending status. And so you'll get an email detailing the information that's needed to complete that. So if it's a missing signature, you'll get an email saying that before we can submit this to finance, we need that signature. The other thing is you'll receive a systematic email every 48 hours. So even if you let us know that this is an issue that may take a few days, you're still going to get that email every 48 hours that your ticket is pending and that it will continue to be pending until you respond and let us know that there is new information. On that note, anytime you upload something into HMIS, if you change something, if you make the changes that we ask you, please let us know. We won't know that you've submitted something to HMIS unless you tell us. And so even if you've corrected something 5 days ago, until you tell us, we won't know to check and actually submit that to finance. The last application status is rejected. If for whatever reason, the main 2 reasons would be that the subject line is incorrect, or also if there's duplicate tickets, your ticket will be rejected, which means that it is we're no longer reviewing it. It's not really in our system anymore. So a new ticket will have to be submitted. So yeah, if the subject line is wrong, or if it's a duplicate ticket, please don't respond to rejected tickets, because then it opens them back up and then that can become confusing as well. If there's any questions that you might have, you can always send those questions to ACT Funds for rejected tickets. And then for pending requests, so once again, if there is a problem with the application, 10 mismatch, missing paperwork, additional clarifications are needed, or if the ROI release is expired, which means we won't be able to review the information, all that information will be in the email that we sent to you. The ticket will be put on the pending status, and you'll get that alert every 48 hours that it's still on pending until we've received that information from you that we've requested. Next slide. So once it has been approved, once there's no errors, it's been submitted to finance, the FSR will go through a final review in our finance department. Once the checks are cut and the payments are mailed, we will change the status of the ticket to check cut / closed. So once again, just to reiterate that, we submit it to finance. It still has one more review to go through. If there is anything wrong with that FSR, that W-9, it may come back to that pending status. But if not, then there will be a check cut and mailed, and we will change that status, and you'll be alerted that there is a check now cut, and you can look at that in HMIS. After that, we will release the FSR in HMIS. And once that FSR is released, the status of the FSR will change from pending approval in HMIS to approved. And so that is the last step of the final process. And sometimes that may take an extra day or 2 from being submitted to finance, then being check cut, and then in HMIS, it may take another day or 2 before you see that it has been approved. Next slide. And I'm going to hand it off to Shamia, I believe.
Utilities. So when submitting a utility request, be sure to include the utility fund request, utility calculation sheet, invoice of the utility bill with the account number specified. That should also include the payment address And also that the address for the utility bill that the payment is being made to should also be included on the FSR. Financial service requests should be submitted for all utility requests. On the reference line, indicate the month, utility, and the year. For example, May utility 2023. COC YHDP utility participant agreement. If the client opts out of the rapid rehousing paying the utility company, they would need to provide a W-9 to be paid directly to the client. The client will receive a 1099 if they receive funds over $599.
Okay, so that is all the requests that you can submit to the ticketing system. Now we're gonna move on to ACT funds. So ACT funds is only supposed to be used if there's any questions regarding a ticket that has already been closed. Please, 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 please do not reopen the tickets. It just causes confusion. You can email funds@act-ct.org. The community resource email, which is ACT funds, is only, which is the ticketing system, is only used for submission for tickets. Examples of emails that you can send to ACT funds would be like the ones below. I need to cancel a ticket. I'm requesting a status of a check. A check needs to be picked up or stop payment. The reason why we have that email is for stuff that's urgent. If you email our ticketing system and we had already closed the ticket, sometimes it might go to, we might not see it, or it might open, but it won't notify anyone. So anything that's urgent in that way, you can email ACT funds. Angel is monitoring it. We check that email multiple times a day. Does anyone have any questions about that before I move on? Okay. So for any support, feel free to contact us at our number listed below. For the department email address is the funds@act-ct.org, which is the one I just stated before, if you have any questions or things that are urgent matters. And then if you need any further information, we also have our department homepage that you can use this link that's on the training to go directly to it.
What questions do we have? Before we dive into this slide, which is the last slide, like I said earlier, I built in some time for questions, dialogue, so on and so forth. I've also had the luxury of seeing the ACT funds inbox. Therefore, I know without a shadow of a doubt that there should be questions. So this is what we're here for. Let us know what you have. If you have some specifics that can be talked about in an open forum, by all means. If not, feel free to email us. So Rhiannon, you are up.
So I have a question just about the utility requests. So Shamai, I think I just answered you on an email. So we don't get a utility bill every single month from them. How often should we be putting the support of a new utility bill in when we do a utility request?
Oh, I can answer that for you, only because I'm the one that sees it at the end, like when we need to pay it. So you can put it, I think they had said that it was okay to put it once, but the only reason why it helps is because if you submit it the first time and the person started getting assistance in the beginning of the year, and now we're in like September, sometimes it might get lost in the midst of it. And also too, I know not everyone gets a utility bill right away. So we can also take a screenshot. I know if they log into like the Eversource
Portal.
their Eversource account or CNG or whatever, they should be able to have their account number on there. So we don't necessarily always need the bill, but we need the account number on something. So it can be that screenshot. You don't have to upload the bill all the time, just at least we have, an account number somewhere. And that's mostly what I need. I don't need the bill necessarily, just account number.
Okay, thank you.
And just something that's been coming up frequently recently is using the address on the bill itself. So if you do have the bill, that address is the correct address, because there's a few different addresses for the utilities. And so we just want to make sure that we're putting the right ones on the FSRs, because otherwise it'll come back and we'll have to get that changed.
Yes, thank you, Andrea. You're looking for the pay, most places have a payment address and like a headquarters. So since we're dealing with the fiduciary piece of the project, you want to make sure that that is correct. Okay, what other questions do we have? No questions? Everybody and every COC, every region is an expert.
Hello.
There we go. Hey.
It's because, well, I know you guys, change over staff, and there's been a lot of changes. And there's consistent changes, as we continue moving forward. But I just wanted to know, like, how can we be on the same page as far as what's required? Because 1 minute is like, you don't need to submit the calculation tools anymore. And then the next minute, with another worker, it's, you need the calculation tool, it's been denied until they receive it. Because when we're not consistently, like, using the same forms or following the same procedures, it holds us up and puts us a step back, and us trying to receive the funds from the landlord, which is not a great thing, because then the landlord is not happy, and it creates, potential issues. How can we have a
Standard fund operating.
yeah, maybe like a checklist that is sent both to the case managers and to the rapid rehousing assistants, with acts that we always can refer to make sure, and always updated, that yes, this is what we're going by. We're no longer using the old model, or this is the new model and it's been updated on this date, and this is active as of whatever date that it's been shared with us,
Yeah.
Well, Kathy, I
for
can
you.
answer you that question if you like. We did a slide on slide 8, and we had the checklist, and this checklist is on their DOH website, and it tells you what you need when you're submitting an initial, an ongoing, and a recertification. And on the form itself, it tells you that you need the calculation sheet. So it's something that we need all the time, because we look at that to see how much, either if they have income, no income, or how much we're supposed to pay.
Kathy, just so I'm clear, I thank you for the question. And, Maria, what Kathy is basically saying, Kathy, if I'm wrong, please feel free to chime in. You're more so referring to the systematic requirements that we have for y'all matching both ways. So if somebody on the is asking Kathy or any of the other rapid rehousing case managers and or supervisors something, and then it gets processed maybe by another person, it should be the same expectations. Am I correct?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you.
So Kendra, do you want to try? I saw you started to chime in.
Yeah. So I know there was a recent conversation with DOH actually. So there was a point that they weren't really pushing to have that as a thing. So I think that's where there was like a little bit confusion. Some people that were here for a while were like, oh yeah, we didn't really need it, but DOH is now asking for everyone to submit that. Everything that's on that checklist is what we're going by now. I know we have some new people, but they're like, actually, I personally think that they're doing great. They're doing better than some of us, because we're so used to processing. And this is now something that DOH is asking us that it has to be something. So that when they came in, they learned it the right way, I guess. So that's probably why you're getting a lot of pushback with that. And we're all on the same page now. That is something that we're using. And that's why we added that new checklist. Everything that's on that checklist is now needed. And that's why we also added the link to the DOH paperwork on there, just in case, you don't know where to find it. And let's say you ever have a problem, just feel free to reach out to me. Also, you can send an email to Act Funds and it'll get to me if you're having a problem. It could be with anyone, or you just have a question about, oh, do I actually need to submit this? You can send an email over and I'll be happy to help you.
Thank you.
No problem.
And I just want to bring up as well, like, I feel like we're all prioritizing making sure this is a fast and easy process for everyone. And we're all learning exactly what is exactly needed to be submitted. But for the most part, we've been trying to stay consistent. And I think we've made exceptions sometimes when there is confusion and when there are certain things that can't be submitted within a reasonable amount of time. And that is something as well that creates some of that confusion. And so I think as long as we're submitting everything that we need to, and we're working really hard on our side to make sure that everyone's expecting the same thing, we all want to make sure that the client's payments get paid in a fast timing. We don't want to hold things up just for the sake of being that kind of like being that way. We're just trying to make sure all the paperwork looks good because we have to do so. But yeah.
Yeah, and I think that I don't know how often they update the documentation on the DOH link resources that we sent through, but there are revision dates on all of the documentation that has been recently updated. So if your process is to grab a stack of forms in your own like shared file, perhaps you might want to go revisit that folder and make sure that all of your forms are up to date. I'm not sure, each agency I'm sure has their own process on how to go about doing that, but probably, you know, once or twice a year, you may want to go in there and make sure that we're using all the right documentation so that it all looks the same at the end of the day. And really, that Rapid Rehousing Fund request checklist is the guide. So if you're processing a particular type, whether it's initial, monthly, or recertification, everything on that checklist that's there needs to be there. And so on our end, that's what we're looking for. If that ever changes, if this checklist gets updated, then DOH will let us know, you guys will know, and again, we'll be all on the same page. It's nice to be in this format because we get to see each other's faces. A lot of times you may not know that there's another human on the end of that email, and you can see the team here. You know, Angel, Maria, Shamia, Kendra, and Brendan, they are the people processing your requests. And so I just want to reiterate that we want to make this as smooth as possible and as quick as possible. And I've encouraged the team that if we can't resolve an issue through email between 1 or 2 emails, then we're encouraged to pick up the phone. Too many emails, too many threads of emails gets lost in the sauce, so to speak. And so if we need to contact you because we're either not understanding what you're saying or you're not understanding us, it's because we want further clarification so we can move things along in the process. And so we're not doing this to be nitpicky. As a fiduciary, there are guidelines that we need to also follow and contractual agreements and scopes that we need to follow on our end so that if for some reason we get monitored, we are going to pass. And as well on your end, I believe you guys are also held to some guidelines by HUD, depending on the type of funding that you're using. And if for some reason the documentation is not in order, then HUD can recapture those funds at your agency level. So, you know, we want to make sure all the documentation is in order for that purpose as well. So I say that all to say we're working together. We want to be professional and courteous with one another and the way we speak and interact with each other so that things can continue to work as smooth as possible.
Great, thank you for that. All right, folks, what other questions do we have? I'm ready.
I have a question.
DJ, what's up?
For the recertification checklist, I just sent one in. I did not include an exception form except when I did the 12 months. Does that mean that every 3 months after the 12 months, you want me to give another exception form?
You guys want to take this one?
You go back to the slide with the checklist.
Yep, I got you.
Thanks. I don't have it in front of me. I just want to see something.
I think it's 8.
There we go. Yep, you're right.
And you said that you did a research.
Yes, ma'am. My client is at like I think a year and a half. And so I just submitted everything except for another exception form because I did that at 12 months. Was I supposed to send another exception form for that every 3 months afterwards?
Yeah, according to the checklist, the current checklist that was provided to us, yes, that's what I'm aware of. If you would like, we can double check with DOH, but according to this, yes, that's one of the things on this checklist that have to be submitted.
Okay, because it didn't say if applicable. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah,
Okay.
I didn't notice that. Yeah, I didn't notice that either. But if anything, what I can do, I'm gonna follow. And what's your name again? Sorry,
I'm Khadija.
Speaking. Oh, okay. What I'll do is I'll follow up with you myself.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, who's next? I don't know, I had to go back to the question mark to ask that, but got a little bit of time, more than a little bit of time. Now's your opportunity. We will not gather again till it's cold again. Getting cold. Any questions about processes? I know the team put together a phenomenal presentation, but now is your opportunity to get those questions out, get those concerns out. Is something working? A few of you on here, I know for a fact that have been around since the beginning, prior to us even building this ticketing system. Everything has kinks, but
As we're waiting for questions, there's something I can bring up. I know the most common mistake that I see come in is just different issues with the FSR. Usually what we see a lot, especially, is the two different funding sources. And I know we brought that up in the presentation, but I just want to make sure, because I have this conversation with a lot of folks, when you're selecting the funding source that you would like it to be paid, you're also working under a specific role underneath HMIS, and that role that you're working underneath. So I hope that everyone knows, but just in case anyone doesn't know, on the top right, when you are in HMIS, you can select the different roles that you're working underneath, and that can change what is put on the FSR. And so if the role and the provider and the account name do not match, we don't know who we can pay to. And so it's just making sure that those match. And whenever you create a funding service request, you can always go back into HMIS under case management and look at it again to make sure those three names do in fact match. And I know Maria has told me that sometimes you also have to enroll the client as well into specific programs in order to select them. And so if you're having issues not seeing the program you're looking for to put the client underneath, then you might have to enroll them. And so that's one of the biggest things I see with the FSRs. Also, sometimes the reference line is just not specific enough. Just as in the subject in the ticketing system, you need the month, the year, the type of service. We also need those things on the reference line and the FSR. So it should say, for example, April 2023 rent. It should say that every single time. If there's something missing there, then we may have to send it back because it's not specific enough. And yeah, there's a few other things as well, but just making sure that all the information is consistent on the FSR with everything else you submit can ensure that that doesn't stop the process.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that. Yep, that is an important topic. I know we touched base, but it's good to have it reiterated. So I appreciate that, Angel. I guess another thing I'll say, as far as just some housekeeping stuff and organizing. So no matter which capacity that I'm doing the training, I will always organize these type of trainings. You guys know it comes from, my Zoom, so on and so forth. So I'd ask everybody, mainly supervisors and folks in leadership, please continue to let us know if people are gone. Please continue to let us know if you have new hires. Please continue to let us know if people's names change, because there's a plethora of reasons why names can change. Because I got about 15 email bounce backs for this most recent one, and it ended up getting fixed, but was able to dive into different listservs, so on and so forth. You can send them to funds, the funds address. You can also send them to me, just CC me, so I can have that. But it's really important that we have the most up-to-date listservs for people, because it just is. You know, we want to make sure that we're reaching everybody. Another thing that folks may not know, a part of our role here is, you know, we do put on individual TA. There's some folks on this call that I had the pleasure of doing some one-on-one TA with. So the levels of TA and interaction and training that we do as a part of our contract with DOH is we do one-on-one training. So if there's folks who, you know, not necessarily struggling, and let me just jump out the window and say this. A TA session does not mean you're in trouble. It doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. All it means is you just need some technical assistance. If we have more time, I could tell you a story about my early days in rapid rehousing 3 years ago and how I royally was messing up, right? And I got some TA and now I got back on track. So if you or somebody that you work with needs some TA, let us know. If there's a group of you guys, if there's a quintet who needs some TA, let us know. If your agency needs some TA, let us know. And we have done all three of those examples. So we'll schedule it, we'll get it on your schedule, get it on our schedule, we'll knock it out. It's more of an intimate space. We will never get rid of these statewide sessions because they're important for their own reasoning, but you do not have to wait every 6 months to speak to us. You know, you just don't, you know, and it's a tool that we make available. So I really encourage folks to take advantage of that tool. And you email ACT Funds, you send your request, hey, I'm looking to get some TA. You know, and whomever, it could be myself, it could be Kendra, you know, so on and so forth to get it done. Also, if a situation occurs where we strongly suggest TA from you, and we may loop your supervisor in or the head of your department, don't get offended. You know, we want everybody to win. We want these rents to get paid. The most important piece of this project is your client getting housing rapidly, right? You know, no pun intended. And if we notice something, we're gonna email you. We're gonna say, hey, you know, do you know we offer TA, or let's schedule some TA sessions, because all that means is you're right there at the edge of the finish line, and with this small push, you'll get there. We're numbers people. As Ishmael mentioned, we are the fiduciary piece of this project. Since this program's inception, almost 3 years ago, about 2.5 years ago, we're over 20,000 requests. There's a lot of behind the scenes things that happens. So I want you all to know that. I want you all to take full advantage. I genuinely enjoy doing these training sessions. I look forward to them. I wear my training sweater and all that stuff. And I really want the relationship to remain open. I want the communication to be open and not intimidating on either side. You know, any of this. So those are my 2 cents. You know, if that has inspired another question, by all means, the floor is yours. If not, oh, Khadijah, okay, that's what I like to see.
It's a little off. I do apologize for being a little late. I had
No, you're good.
prior call. But my question is, where we ended up the last 6 months ago was that you were working on the direct deposit for the landlords. Did that ever get taken care of?
I will let Kendra and Ishmael handle that.
So at this time, we're not going to move forward with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Maybe. All right, folks, any other questions? If not, I'll give you some of your, so I'll give you some of your Wednesday back. It's always a weird, like, what do you think people are going to say? You know, no, Brendan, let's stay an extra hour. All right, folks, well, here's what's going to happen next. Oh yeah, of course. Here's what's going to happen next. We're going to get off. I'll give you the rest of your afternoon back. Give me a little bit to package this up and send it out. But as promised, I'll send out the recording. I will send out the slide deck, and I'll send out that link that Ishmael dropped in the chat. So you guys have everything that you need. Okay, I'm looking at the chat. That is good to know. I always like hearing those success stories. All right, folks. Well, if there's nothing, you all enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. I know it's springtime, so I know I get the pleasure of seeing you guys at what's coming up next month. What is it called? Look at me, getting old. ATI. I will see you guys at ATI. If I haven't met you, just run up on me. It's safe that day. All right, folks, well, have a good day, and I will see you when I see you. Take care.